Yahoo came to India in 2000, early 2000s. So I joined them in 2004 and helped them grow the technical capabilities. I spent a good 12 years at a large manufacturing enterprise, spending time both in the US and in Asia. I'm currently a faculty at St. John's River State College in Florida.
Today you've tried a lot of VR training experiences, and I think the problem that we see VR solving is this problem of knowledge transfer. So what is knowledge transfer to you in enterprises? How do they typically see it as a function?
In a company like Eaton, you have a multi-generation workforce. And in a manufacturing setup, there are people with institutional knowledge, which they have gained over 20, 30, 40 years even, right? Now, you can't find that knowledge captured in a manual or a book. It is sitting in their head. And these are people who are either about to retire or, just transitioning out. Now, you have a younger workforce which is coming in who are ready to take on this initiative and the job, but it is not something you could train them instantly, right? From a book. Over the years, there are lots of tools and techniques which companies have adopted when it comes to knowledge transfer. The traditional training approaches, people training the trainer, and then the trainer imparting the knowledge, transferring the knowledge. But the ones which I have greater appreciation and potential for is what I probably attempted to do when I was running the emerging technologies group at Eaton. We were looking at a number of technologies at that time, right from blockchain to AR, MR, to digital twins, etc., IoT. I mean, this was about 4 or 5 years ago. These were the buzzwords. And large enterprise typically moves slowly when it comes to emerging technologies. It takes time for getting familiar, to build muscle around these capabilities, and then deploy them globally, right? So in all the technologies, I felt where you need to transfer knowledge. For example, if you're trying to help assembly person on the manufacturing line to become productive fast, you need to educate the person with the right knowledge faster. So we were experimenting with augmented reality at that time. Especially the biggest problem we had in the manufacturing line was turnover. So you were dealing with people joining and leaving in a year, 2 years. That was the problem which was in front of us. We wanted to find a way to train people faster and make them productive faster. Now, that's where this technology came in handy. To be able to get the people into a room, put on the headsets, and you build content which is real life content, right? And they were able to quickly learn and get productive on the job, on the production line. So that was my best experience, I would say, because we could see the impact pretty fast, because you're measuring all these numbers. How long does it take to train? How long does it take to become productive on the assembly line? So that was a good experience I had when it comes to training. There are lots of other ways followed, but when it comes to using a tool, a technique, this was one I would rate it high.
I always feel like when I try virtual reality, it just sparks some ideas
Yeah.
for me. Some of them practical, some not. If this technology was available, let's say 15 years ago,
Yeah.
what kind of application would you have used it for? What do you feel like there's a project that you would have liked to do with it, with this kind of technology?
We are familiar with search. If we need some information, we go to Google or Yahoo or do a search, and then you would try and get a result, and then you find what you need. I'll tell you, in an enterprise, it is still a challenge because of information sits in silos, right? Now, with the emergence of newer tools and technologies, if you're able to combine all of this, VR and an AI, and yes, the database which exists in an enterprise, and if you're able to answer questions to any user with a problem, which is happening in real time.
Now tell me what is written on this book.
The text on the book reads AutoVRse.
That's accurate.
Yeah, I've been bringing in an omniscient AI avatar just sitting there in front of us, so you can ask them any question you want about the organization. I think it takes away a lot of that embarrassment of not knowing this actually.
Yeah.
You're always questioning, am I supposed to know this and do I not know?
Right.
You can ask this AI and it does not judge you, all the way to something super complex. Like I think we've seen some of these standard operating procedures are 200 pages, 300 pages. And especially in a very high pressure situation,
Yeah.
you don't have the time
Yeah.
to go through it and actually understand it.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, when it comes to manufacturing, especially either safety training or in field service engineers, I mean, in an electrical sector setting, if you have to train a field service engineer in a complex equipment, it takes a long time before they become productive, right? And a lot of times these are equipment which are expensive and dangerous to operate. These are not available for you to actually physically train on, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's where it takes newer capability, newer technologies. If you could immerse these people in those situations, and if they're able to really experience what it takes to install or what it takes to maintain equipment in an hazardous, dangerous environment, it is powerful. Today, it's not an easy thing to train somebody to be a field service engineer for such settings.
We work with a lot of pharmaceutical companies, a lot of manufacturing companies. I think they aspire to move at the speed that a tech company would move at. But of course, just the physics of their products, their people, their processes, and of course, having to deal with actual physical world objects, it's extremely different, right? So, in your time and in your experience in both of these kinds of organizations, what do you think about the speed of adoption of a new technology?
Yeah, maybe let me try and answer this by using Yahoo and Eden as an example, right? When I was in Yahoo for about 5 years, as you know, Yahoo was a technology company, a new age company. And if you want to introduce your product in the market, you don't have a lot of time. You're dealing with 6 months to a year before you want to bring something to the market, right? In contrast, if you take Eden, in 6 months' time, the progress you would have made is very different. It took me a while to understand why, because after I moved from Yahoo, I was operating at a completely different pace. I was looking for changes to happen every few months. But within Eden, it used to take lot more time. And it took me a while to understand that. In an enterprise setting, things are relating to a company which has been around for 100 years. So the processes and methods you got to follow for adopting a new technology especially is very different. So you have to go through many methods and processes to get approval, to just to get that past a certain stage for deployment. Now, there was a reason behind it. I mean, it took me a while to understand it, but things are changing now, I would say. Companies are entering a mode where they are innovating much faster. The likes of Eden are developing new methods and techniques to adopt newer technologies faster. But when I joined them, that was not the case. That's because of the time, the types of technologies were in the marketplace, and the maturity of the organization. Because when you're dealing with these technologies, you got to be ready to innovate, ready to fail fast, ready to pivot. This is a cultural change, right? So Yahoo was a new age technology, and it was more built on that kind of a culture. While a company like Eden was built on a solid foundation, and you would bring in a technology with great deal of circumspect maturity and all that stuff. So that was the change. But by the time I moved out of Eden, the organization's culture had changed. They were more willing to experiment, innovate, and adopt new technologies. So today, I would say, still there is a gap. You could introduce a new technology in the new age company much faster because the culture and the appetite is very different. But in a large enterprise, it'll take more time.
Do you have any advice for someone in one of these industries who's trying to bring in technology today? Like maybe they're running pilots, they're running proof of concepts, maybe they're even seeing numbers, they're seeing the ROI, but they're unable to deploy it at scale. Do you have any tips or any advice for someone stuck in that situation today?
Few things I would say. The biggest thing is to align with your enterprise strategy. Now, these days, most of the companies have a digital strategy, right? Now, buying that or aligning with that will help anybody who wants to accelerate their adoption of newer technologies or capabilities. Now, if you're doing things in isolation, it is always a challenge to deploy that across the enterprise. But if you are aligned with the corporate strategy, and if you have a roadmap, and if you have a plan to deploy that at scale at some point of time with a certain degree of maturity, I think it has a greater chance for succeeding in an enterprise. So it is better to socialize the intent faster within the enterprise, get buy-in, find a sponsor who has a seat at the table, and then quickly get into a culture of innovation, fail fast kind of an approach, and then adopt. I think that would be a good thing to follow.